Get ready for the world's most expensive rides. In this episode, try a one-of-a-kind supercar loaded with raw power.
It's loud, it's thunderous, it makes the hair stand on your arms.
A millionaire's monster truck that screams supersize me.
It's a driving house.
Or how about a pimped-out Italian legend?
All you gotta do is hit the gas and go. I'm Mario Andretti.
C8 Spider is a supercar packed with surprises, starting with the country where it's made.
I can't think of any other modern car company out of Holland that makes vehicles, and directly out of Amsterdam, the Spyker C8 is truly a unique vehicle.
Get behind the wheel of this $235,000 beauty, and you're joining an exclusive and unusual club.
Very limited numbers, exclusively built for each individual in Amsterdam. The look of the car is utterly unique. It's kind of a combination of a jet fighter plane and a spaceship. It is low to the ground, very sleek, unlike anything else you'd ever see.
It's not a car where you walk in and see 10 red ones in the showroom. Most cars are only purchased on an order-only basis.
When you're in a Spyker, one of 100 in the world each year, you will get every single look on the road. There's nothing that looks like this car.
And the Spyker's got more than good looks. An aluminum chassis and body means it shines in the performance department, too.
This car is extremely light. It's about 2,700 pounds. What this gives you is the ability to transfer all of that power directly to the wheels and get extremely good performance.
The C8 sprints from a standstill to 60 miles per hour in just 4.5 seconds. Top speed is 187 miles per hour. The engine comes from Audi, a 4.2-liter V8 mid-mounted like a typical race car. It's tuned by Spyker to conjure up a ferocious 400 horsepower and has a throaty roar to match. An incredibly responsive 6-speed gearbox makes for a tight, wild ride. No electronic traction, no stability control, just the driver, the car, and the road.
It's loud, it's thunderous, it gives you great noises on downshifts, upshifts. And when you really open up the throttle, it makes the hair stand on your arms.
But if your car is scaring the neighbors, the Spyker comes with volume control as standard, enabling the driver to switch to what Spyker calls whisper mode.
Whisper mode is a switch with which you can open or close the butterfly valves in the exhaust system, which means that you determine, and you alone, when you have a loud exhaust note or whether the car is very quiet.
As well as a low profile, Spyker boasts a one-of-a-kind history dating back to the 1900s and the birth of the automobile and aviation industries.
Spyker started as a company making cars and airplanes around 1900, very early aircraft, very early cars. And they actually had a large car model they sold with some success that was known as the Rolls-Royce of the continent, interestingly. The company folded in the 20s, but the name was revived in 2000 as a sports racing, very high-performance, series of automobiles. And in fact, they've had great success at Le Mans, so the car's racing tradition is genuine and honest.
The supercharged road warrior of today came into being when Dutch businessman Victor Muller grew frustrated with what he saw as the shortcomings of many modern supercars.
I felt that there was a tremendous gap in the market for the truly handcrafted car. There were no more manufacturers that really made cars to the exacting standard of their buyers in terms of craftsmanship.
Muller set up shop in the outskirts of Amsterdam and established an intensely personal manufacturing process. Each spiker stays in one place throughout its creation, tended to by a small group of dedicated craftsmen. The company produces just 100 vehicles a year.
In the factory, you can actually watch the car be built through production. You can call the factory, make changes at any time, and of course, you're welcome to visit the car in production anytime throughout the cycle.
When the moment arrives to sit in the leather-lined cockpit, the aircraft inspirations surround you and you feel like taking off into orbit.
It's just wild. All these toggle switches you use for everything, the sport mode. Even your hazard lights are a toggle switch, not to mention your headlamps, your wipers. Everything is a toggle switch. You have a two-stage start procedure. Just to turn ignition and electronics on is this switch here, and your start button in the very, very center. All the engine turned aluminum is very, very unique. It shows off all the craftsmanship.
The attention to detail extends to the car's extraordinary handling, hugging the road through the tightest corner.
You get this feeling of goosebumps and excitement. You go around the first corner and you feel how the handling characteristics are so tight and the car is just glued to the ground. It is such a thrill to drive.
Definitely well thought out. They've thought of not only creating a car that was easy and fun to drive, exhilarating to drive, but also a car that kind of feeds your emotion while you're driving the car. And that's what's unique about this very small hand-built car world is emotion and soul in the car that you really don't find in every other high-end sports car.
Spiker drivers hold their cars close to their hearts. According to Victor Muller, not a single owner has sold their car in 9 years of Spiker's existence.
Since we're a very small company and we're only producing a handful of cars a year, one builds up a personal relationship with virtually every single owner. As a result, it's more like being a member of an elite club.
The ownership extends even further after you own a car. If you need any service, if you need something even roadside, or you need somebody to come out to the house and look at something, they will send a certified Spiker employee to come out to the house. The Spiker C8 costs $235,000. In the realm of the supercar category and the sports car category, it's not a ton of money. For being one of 100 built, to me, it's a bargain.
The Spiker C8 Spider. It gives new meaning to the phrase, going Dutch. When it comes to luxury sport utility vehicles, who says size doesn't matter? Move over, Hummer. Meet the P4XL, an SUV on steroids.
I feel like Superman in this machine. I'm the king of the world, baby.
The P4XL stretches an astounding 22 feet from hood to trunk, towers almost 10 feet tall, and weighs in at a ground-shuddering 20,000 pounds, almost 10 times heavier than your average compact car. With 330 horsepower and an 8.3-liter diesel engine, the P4XL truck packs enough power to handle a load of 30,000 pounds.
The sports chassis P4XL is not a big car. It's a huge car. It's the biggest SUV to the extreme that a car absolutely could be. It's like driving a 3-bedroom condo. This is a vehicle that would pretty much do anything that you would need a vehicle to do.
The P4XL is the ultimate statement of I came to play.
Priced at $230,000, the P4XL may be a rich man's toy, but its origins are no joke.
Our entire sport chassis product line is a spinoff from the original concept of Freightliner Specialty Vehicles, which was the manufacturing of emergency vehicles, ambulances, rescue trucks, mobile command posts, bomb squad units.
So Freightliner asked, If we can build the vehicle strong enough for a bomb squad, why not create a rugged, no-holds-barred SUV suitable for the most discriminating luxury car driver?
We kind of like to make things tough, and we like to make them pretty, and so the P4 is the latest.
Don't be fooled by this monster, tough enough for combat and big enough to haul just about anything. On the inside, the P4 XL is nothing but sweet.
The P4 XL is truly the beauty and the beast. The beast of the outside is the ultimate truck, and the beauty of the inside is the ultimate luxury car.
The P4 XL comes with a moose catcher as standard, light bars, custom grille, cameras front and back, as well as sumptuous leather, flip-down TVs, touchscreen navigation, Bluetooth technology, and a specially designed four-wheel drive transmission.
Well, the biggest challenge in creating the P4 XL was coming up with a chassis that was adequate to build on in a four-wheel drive capacity. Freightliner Corporation came up with that late last year, and so when that happened, we took off.
P4XL is a truck, and it's always going to be a truck. It's always going to feel like a truck. But with the right kind of steering, brake, suspension, sophistication, you can make it manageable, reasonably responsive. You'll feel confident it'll go where you point it. And that's really all you need.
They're designed to where anyone can drive them with relative ease. So I can tow my boat, tow my motorhome, anything I want, and I'm able to drive around just as easily as I would a normal car.
You never want to have to parallel park a sport chassis, but certainly for out in the wilds, running through the wilderness, if you need to get someplace, this will take you virtually anywhere.
But a luxury SUV isn't worth the name without a silky smooth ride, even in rough terrain, made possible by the P4 XL's unique undercarriage.
We've gone to great extents to dampen the ride, to soften it through air suspensions that take that energy from the road that you would feel in most trucks, absorb that so that the driver feels very comfortable and very stable behind the wheel.
So just how did Freightliner cram an insane number of state-of-the-art electronic options into one vehicle?
Essentially what we receive in is what we call a bare cab chassis. And mainly it consists of frame rails, an engine, a cab, very little wiring. Some of the options that we put in are so special that it's important that they be isolated from other systems. From there, we custom design our own bodies, our own finished parts. We install custom wheels, and then, of course, exotic interiors that we feel are unmatched by anyone else in the world. The Sport Chassis model line features about 250 customizable options. We have about 100 people touch that truck through the process, and it takes about 300 man-hours to construct.
The P4 XL has carved out a niche as the biggest, baddest SUV on the road.
There's a phenomenon out there that bigger is better. And once a soccer mom pulls into a neighborhood with the biggest SUV, we have clients that go looking for something bigger. And so in walks P4 XL. It's the biggest thing on the road that's street legal.
But if you're interested in this mother of all trucks, you'd better get in line. The P4 XL gives new meaning to the word exclusive.
If your Escalade or Suburban just isn't big enough and massive enough as a sport utility vehicle, the P4 XL is there to set a new high water mark.
The P4 XL, a high-end SUV that leaves a lasting impression. Lamborghini Murcielago 640 Roadster is truly a feast for the eyes.
It's one thing to watch the Lamborghini Murcielago take off. It's a whole different ballgame to actually be in the car and feel it.
Fire up the engine, and this hunk of eye candy transforms into a supreme street machine that awakens all the senses.
The sound is ridiculous. It's straight Formula One car, everything about it. All you gotta do is touch it, and there's power. I mean, it's unreal the amount of power that this thing has.
These cars are speaking to you when they take off. And this car says to you, I'm about to take you on the ride of your life. And that's exactly what it does. It's an extraordinary sound, and it's like listening to a beautiful concerto.
Designed to resemble the stealth bomber, the Murcielago is among the top 10 fastest production cars in the world, clocking up a staggering 219 miles per hour. Talk about flying under the radar. You wouldn't want to get into a dogfight with this bad boy.
All you gotta do is hit the gas and go. I'm Mario Andretti.
The Lamborghini Murcielago LP640 Roadster is arguably the best car they've ever built.
The powerful, rare, and very pricey Murcielago is definitely made in Italy. But this fighter jet on four wheels gets its name from the Spanish word for bat. Murcielago is also the moniker of a legendary fighting bull, a link to the company's famous logo. This monster car is just the latest automotive masterpiece from a company founded in 1963 by a former tractor maker.
Ferruccio Lamborghini was an Italian industrialist, built farm equipment, and he was a sports car fan, owned various cars, including a couple of Ferraris. And the story is he always had troubles with his Ferraris, particularly around the clutch. He went to Enzo Ferrari one time and just said, industrialist to industrialist, Enzo, why can't you build your cars so they're more reliable? And of course, Mr. Ferrari said, the maker of farm implements has no right to tell me how to build a sports car.
An outraged Mr. Lamborghini decided to build his own 12-cylinder sports car, the aluminum-engined 350 GT. Almost 5 decades later, Lamborghini's latest triumph, the Murcielago, ranks as perhaps the most impressive sports car ever produced. At the heart of this testosterone-fueled beast, a massive, finely tuned engine.
The model number of the car is LP640, 640 representing 640 horsepower, making it one of the fastest exotic cars in the industry.
But unlike most other exotic cars which use a rear-wheel design, the Murcielago hugs the road with four-wheel drive.
The ease to drive and the power is amazing. You can just take corners, no brakes, just shift the gear, gas only, and just keep flying.
The all-wheel drive aspect allows the driver to keep the car safely on the road, safely on turns, and make it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in approximately 3.4 seconds, with top speeds over 200 miles per hour.
So I'm in 4th gear right now, and if I just give it gas, I can go up. I mean, that's 70, that's 80, that's 90, just like nothing.
To help offset the weight of the engine, the designers built much of the Murcielago in ultralight carbon fiber, just like a Formula One race car. Then there's the one-of-a-kind hydraulic fins. Lamborghini calls it a variable airflow cooling system.
These movable vanes on the Murcielago can open up at speed as necessary to make sure there's enough airflow to cool the engine, but also no more than necessary because you don't want to disrupt that airflow. So they will actually open or close as necessary to provide the engine just the cooling it needs.
The Murcielago combines style and function outside and in. This already extremely rare Murcielago is in fact the only one of its kind.
What we did is we put a premier body kit on the car, and that entails a whole new front bumper. And then as you move to the rear of the vehicle, this car has a beautiful wing made of carbon fiber, helps with downforce, helps with performance, but just looks awesome. You'll notice that there's new dual-tip exhaust tips and a more of a squared-off aggressive look.
And for the ultimate supercar, what else but the ultimate audio system pumping out 1,600 watts?
That's a lot of power.
When I drove this car, there was literally a point where I actually thought the car was going to leave the ground. It's an extraordinary experience. It's unlike anything you'll ever feel.
The Lamborghini Murcielago, the car that screams molto bene. From the mysteries of mind-blowing extravagance to the science of record-breaking speed. Wild cars, crazy boats, killer bikes, and massive tarmac-shattering trucks. The priciest, prettiest, and most insanely advanced vehicles on the planet. That's just the way we roll on the world's most expensive rides.